Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. I'm just going to wait for you guys to join in. Sorry that I'm tuning in late. My Instagram was not working. I had to update my app. Today is a great morning. Today's my birthday, and I'm choosing to spend it with you guys. If this is your first time joining, comment. Let me know it's your first time. Happy April. Happy new month, my favorite month. So even though today is my birthday, I will be celebrating all month. Obi Tim says happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you, Nails Tech, for the birthday wishes. Thank you. All right, today I want to, let me introduce myself first. My name is Aisha Chidole. So I'm an immigration attorney out here in Atlanta, Florida. I said Atlanta, Florida, Atlanta and Florida, but we represent clients all over the United States. So your location is not a problem. We're happy to help you regardless. If you want to immigrate to the United States, and it's a family-based case, humanitarian-based case, naturalization, etc. Thank you guys so much for the birthday wishes. I'm going to talk about my announcement at the end of the live before I jump off. Hopefully I don't forget. Remind me if I'm about to log off and I haven't said it. If you want to schedule a consult, call 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. Yeah, so let's see what is going on here. I see a lot of first timers. Awesome, welcome. Sub-Zero says, happy Earth Strong, one of the most beautiful and educated immigration lawyers. Hope God blesses your soul for helping us out. Oh, thank you so much. That is so kind. Thank you. Jonathan says, it's my first time. Happy birthday. Awesome. Kansas says, good morning. Happy birthday. First timer as well. Thank you, Drama Queen. Thank you, Jaflo, Nubian. I am Quest. Respect my locks. This is your first time. Thank you. Shaya says, happy birthday. Thank you. Danny Boo, first timer. Welcome. Fafin says, it's my first time. Thank you guys so much for spending this morning with me, first timers. And of course, for my oldies but goodies, thank you. Evie Silva, thank you so much. Gordon says, today's my birthday too. Oh my gosh, happy birthday. Only great people are Aries. You're a great attorney. Thank you. Yeah, April 4th is the best day, but my daughter's birthday was yesterday, April 3rd, and my husband's was on Friday. So there's, a lot of birthdays in our family around this window. Put up your phone number once. Okay, guys, let me just type this in. I'm sorry, YouTube and Facebook. Just give me a second to put the number. I can't talk and type at the same time, or WhatsApp. So let's just put it in there. How's everyone doing? The live is for frequently asked questions, so feel free to jump in and ask me your questions today. I will be, okay, so I pinned it, so you should be able to see my phone number now pinned on Instagram. Of course, if you're in Facebook, you can see it scrolling through the ticker. And if you're YouTube, the same thing. Even if you're watching a replay, you can see that on Instagram. Just check my profile. Oh, Mr. Toss said his birthday is April 1st. Oh, your birthday is on April 4th. I bet you get fooled so much. My kids played a crazy prank on me on Saturday. Maybe I'll post it in my stories what they did to my car, but that was funny. And I have another person here on April 13th. Happy birthday. Aquino, thank you so much. Sandra Jackson, God's Own on YouTube. Thank you. Okay, so let me just get right into it. So Braidis Tana says, I saw that there were some additions to case processing time. Do you know why? Honestly, it's really irritating if you ask me, honestly. It's really irritating. When we tell clients, I have no control over this, they're frustrated. But, I think because of the backlog that initially happened with COVID, the calls to USCIS became crazy where they couldn't keep up with the calls, which is why, a lot of clients or a lot of people say, we try to call USCIS. It's difficult to get in touch with a human being and stuff like that. So by them instituting this process in time, what it does is that, they will not even entertain a service request online or a phone call if it hasn't if it hasn't passed the process in time, just to allow these cases to keep moving so that people are not calling. In as much as I know you guys are anxious and everything, also sometimes, like I can tell you as somebody who is in the office, and sometimes calls can be distracting, because if you're working and you're just answering the call, you can't get to the work. So that's probably why they did it. Now, are the times ridiculous? Personally, I feel they are ridiculous. But they've started doing it with the I-485s, where they're actually now breaking it down based on your field office. So like if you're in Atlanta, you're going based on the time in Atlanta. If you're in Orlando, you're going based on the time in Orlando. But yeah, but I will say though that even though they have a lot of ridiculous times, especially with just a regular marriage and adjustment of status, it's really unrealistic. Most people are going to get approved. Like for instance, Atlanta, if you click on the I-485, it tells you 32 months. That's more than 2.5 years. Is that 2.5 years? 2.5 years. Yeah, it's more than 2.5 years, which is ridiculous. So they're most likely going to approve it before then, but they just are putting that so that people are not calling them until they make a decision on their case. Good morning, Davis. Hope you're back from your vacation. So Alagi on Instagram, YouTube says, I received my prima facie after 5 months of filing with all the forms. How long does it take to get my EAD? Well, the answer depends on what you filed. Did you file your EAD application with an adjustment of status, or did you not? If you did, you've got like a 4 to 9 month window. We're really seeing a lot of people getting at the 6 month mark. So hopefully, yours is coming really soon. Camellia says, hi, first time, welcome, and wish you just service. I've been wishing you for some time now. Thank you. Call the office and we'll be happy to help you. And he says, it's my birthday month. My birthday's on April 8th. People born in April are great people. Oh my gosh, so many April people. That's why we all get along. Another person's birthday is today. Anike, happy birthday. Birthday twin, yes. VAWA cases transferred to another office. Will it move my application faster? It depends. It depends on where your VAWA case started and where it's being transferred to. Some cases, for instance, from Nevada. So, well, right now, and as I'm sure you guys know, they're asking for people to send their VAWA cases to Nevada office, right? And, when you're in Nevada, there's a possibility that you can eventually get moved to Vermont. The reason why they're sending it there is for them to process receipts quicker. There is actually, documentation that USCIS has provided, basically saying that there is a delay in receipts coming. So for those of you who have been like, where's my receipt? Where's my receipt? There is a delay. They know about it and they're working on it over the next 30 days. So that might be why you've seen sort of like a transfer. David says, yes, Mama, I sent you a message and you replied. I did? Was it me who replied? Or one of my staff? Because I don't remember. But then again, I get so many emails, but I don't remember replying. But I'm going to check. And then Mr. Toss says, by any chance, are I-751 cases based on cruelty being adjudicated in Vermont? I recently applied for this and received my receipt notice in a week. No. Well, I-751s are not usually sent to Vermont. So most likely it will not be adjudicated in Vermont. I mean, sometimes they send some there, but most likely you're not going to that location. Janet Castle says, happy birthday, my lawyer, looking beautiful. Thank you. Okay, good morning, Peggy. How long does it take one with a work permit to get a green card on a VAWA case? VAWA cases take, so VAWA cases take anywhere from 2 years to 2.5 years for a VAWA decision. Once you get a VAWA decision, your case one of two things can happen. your case can bypass the adjustment of status interview where they make a decision or request a medical exam to make a decision, or they could schedule you for an interview. After VAWA approval, I'll say on average, it could take anywhere from like 4 to 6 months to get that to happen, like to either get like a bypass or to get a request for your what do you call it, medical, or to schedule you for an interview. After this live, I actually have a VAWA interview that I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. My birthday is on the 7th. Oh my gosh, so many great April 7 people that I know personally in my life. So happy birthday to you. Okay, so is there an office in Missouri? We don't have an office in Missouri, but we represent clients in Missouri. So, definitely give us a call. We'll still be happy to help you. I filed for my mother's I-130 since February of 2020 until now. I have not seen anything since then. Timmy talked about that's a really long time, and I need a little bit more context. Did you get an RFE? Did they request like any additional evidence just to see what's going on? And just to verify, you're a U.S. citizen, right? But 2020 is a long time not to have heard anything at all, because that's like 3 years. I filed since December of 2020 and still haven't received a prima facie. Is that a good thing? Well, not receiving a prima facie for 3 years since you filed and not a decision, it's not a good thing, but it's not necessarily the end of it doesn't necessarily mean that your case will get denied. It is possible that maybe you did get an ITRI prima facie, but wrong address, and was sent to the wrong address. It is possible that they issued a prima facie and just never sent it out to you. Or it is possible that you don't have a prima facie case and they're going to send you an RFE to make sure you have a prima facie case. So without reaching out to the processing center, it would be really hard to tell where you are. But I would say that 3 years is a long time to not hear anything at all from your VAWA case. Another person whose birthday is on the 18th. Happy birthday, Unique on the 7th. Happy birthday, Marilyn on April 8th. Happy birthday. Oludevam says, happy birthday. Estimated time onto case decision, 2 weeks. Please, what do they mean? If that's what they told you, that it's going to be 2 weeks before they make a decision on your case, then, you just wait 2 weeks, and see. Okay. I had a baby back in 2018 on my visa. Now doing my green card case, I got my advanced parole. Do you think it's safe to travel back home? Obviously, I don't know your personal immigration journey. I don't know if you have any previous history of deportation, asylum cases. So I can't tell you in particular, but generally, if you've got no immigration history, you have a pending case with no issues, never been in deportation, never had an NTA to appear in front of an immigration judge, no pending asylum cases. If you got advanced parole, generally, it would be okay to travel. Anna Gay says, if you just got a J1 visa, how much will it cost to adjust your status? Well, you'd need to schedule a consultation to discuss adjustment of status. However, with the J1, you have to make sure you qualify, because if you have a J1 visa, the first thing that you want to ensure is that you don't have a 2-year waiver requirement, because sometimes when you have a J1, you're required to spend 2 years in your home country before they allow you to adjust your status, unless you apply for a no objection waiver or extreme hardship or something with your country and they approve it. Sorry, if you guys asked me questions earlier and I've missed it, you can put it back, just because there's just so many and I can't. The text is so tiny today, so I'm having a hard time reading it. Someone is asking, what is your consultation fee? I charge $150 for consultation. Hair braided by Sean. I did answer your question. So if you didn't hear it, then just listen to this live again when I get off. Okay, so on YouTube, it says if you get a mail extending the removal of condition for the I-751 by 48 months, can you now apply for citizenship since it's over 3+ years, and you received your 2-year conditional green card. Well, citizenship is based on eligibility, not based on how long your case has been pending. So if you're removing the conditions based on you and your spouse still being married, so you're doing a joint removal of conditions, after 3 years from the date which you received your original 2-year green card, yeah, you can apply for citizenship. Typically what will happen is they will do a double interview for you for both the citizenship and the conditional removal. If you're removing based on divorce, you have to wait 5 years, to file for citizenship. If you're doing it based on abuse, then you can also do it, after 3 years. When you're removing conditions based on abuse, I am always very hesitant to recommend filing for naturalization unless you have a really, really, really strong abuse case. I know I've told you guys several times before, but let me, I think it bears repeating. Conditional green cards are, if you're interviewed for a conditional green card, they are some of the most tough or toughest, whichever the correct grammar is, interviews, especially when it's based on abuse. And so you have to really have a slam dunk extreme cruelty case before you go applying for naturalization. And the reason why I say that is because if they end up saying, okay, we don't believe that your case or your spouse was extremely cruel or abusive enough, what will happen is they will deny your, they could deny your case both on the naturalization. Let's say, actually, let me simplify it a little bit. So with an I-751, when you're removing conditions in your green card, if let's say you filed for extreme cruelty and also you and your spouse are divorced, for example, and you say, I want to remove the conditions based on extreme cruelty, but we're also gonna divorce, right? For us, strategically, we'll select both, so that if the officer says there's not enough extreme cruelty, then find on the basis of divorce. So let's assume you only submitted one based on extreme cruelty, using that as an example. And then you also file for naturalization. And then the officer says, well, I do believe you have a good faith marriage. It's just, I don't think your stuff is extremely cruel. Then that means you've wasted your application for the naturalization, because you can naturalize after 3 years if they don't find on those grounds. So if you select both, and they find for divorce instead of extreme cruelty, you're in the same boat. So you really have to have a strong extreme cruelty case for conditional green cards, which is different from VAWA I-360s when you don't have a green card. I know a lot of people confuse this. These are two different things that I'm talking about. Reaction says, how soon after marriage can you file for a green card? Well, the answer depends. It depends on who's filing for you. Is a person a U.S. citizen? Is a person a conditional green card holder? A green card holder. If you're a green card holder, did you get your green card through marriage? How recently did you get your green card? If it was under 5 years, not a good idea if you're a green card holder to be filing for somebody else. But if you're a U.S. citizen, filing for somebody else you're married, there's no timeline. You can file whenever you want to file. You just have to prove that, your marriage is legit. Okay. Okay. Camellia says, I have done my biometrics and fingerprints, and I got my work permit, but haven't heard anything from after that, I guess. Your question is still a bit vague. I don't know what you're applying for. It's all varied. It depends on what you're applying for in order for me to tell you what would come next. When having a child with your husband, does that help with the filing? Well, if you have a child with your husband, that helps with showing that you have a bona fide marriage, for sure. Louis says, if you got locked up and got incarcerated for 25 days for shoplifting, can you still travel? I don't know what context. I don't know who you are. Are you a petitioner? Are you a beneficiary? What is your status? So that all depends. iCandy says, any offices in Florida? We have one in Orlando, but again, we represent clients all over the U.S. So it doesn't really matter what your location is. We're happy to do a Zoom video consultation or phone consultation. We manage all our clients' cases through a client portal. So it doesn't really matter where you live. I've heard of a human traffic visa that would allow you to get a green card. I heard that if you were help in the US, it you could apply. I'm not really sure I understand your question if you're trying to get clarification, but there is such a thing as a human trafficking visa, and that's basically the T visa. Like, so, maybe if you were recruited or transported for labor, either from your home country or here, or coerced basically through the use of force, or so they recruit you through the use of either force, coercion, fraud, and tell you, we're going to give you a job here. We promise you a green card here, etc. But you end up literally becoming a servant, a slave, an indentured servant, or, basically, or them telling you that you're indebted to them. We paid for you to come here. So you can't leave, or you can't get another job, or you can't leave this house until you pay your debt and stuff like that. So yeah, if you do qualify, if you did have that experience, you can definitely look into eligibility for a T visa for you and your family, especially if you're married and you have minor children. You do have to report it to law enforcement, but that is a path to a green card and ultimately citizenship. Dimsel says, can VAWA cases be expedited? I mean, expedite in any case at all is truly a matter of discretion and what is the urgency. If a client comes to me where literally their life is at risk, they need something to escape, or they're in a homeless shelter and they need something, we're always happy to say to USCIS, here is some evidence as we speak of what is going on. This person needs to get out of the situation. How can you expedite the case? Or can you help this person because this is a matter of life and death? So it's always something we're willing to try now. Is there a rule of expediting for it or not? There's not one, but you can certainly try if you have evidence of what is urgent. Claudine says, where are you? I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia. That is our main headquarters and where I am located as I speak to you. What to do after receiving a valid prima facie? There's nothing to do. Sit down and wait tight. Getting a prima facie is good. Typically, if you file for adjustment of status, what comes next is a work permit, travel permit. And you're going to hold on to that until they make a decision on your case. You're going to get automatic renewals of your prima facie. So the first prima facie you get would be 1 year. And then after that, it will be renewed for 180 days. You don't need to put in a new application for renewal. This will automatically happen and they will automatically send it to you. If my husband is a resident, can I file for adjustment of status, or he has to be a citizen? If you're out of status, he has to be a citizen. If you're in status, we have to check the visa bulletin this month. So right now the visa bulletin is shifting. Since 2019, visas have been current where, as a green card holder, as long as you're in status, you can apply. But right now, this April was the first time that we saw a 2-year wait, in the bulletin of how or where they're processing. However, they will still let you, as of April, apply, under the final action date, but it's very troubling and worrisome of this becoming a trend. So there's a possibility that in May, you might not even be able to, if you're married to a green card holder and you have, what am I trying to say? And you have your current status, that you might not even be able to do it because visas won't be available. So honestly, if you're in that window and you're just kind of like, whatever, you better do it now because we don't know what it's going to look like in May. VAW was approved January of 2023. Congrats. Both filed together. When can I expect my green card? Katie, I talked about that. So just rewind this live and you should hear that. Can I apply for citizenship if I've lost my green card? You apply for citizenship because you're eligible to apply for citizenship, not because you've lost your green card. So the question is, are you eligible for citizenship? If you're eligible for citizenship, certainly you can apply for that. Um, and citizenship eligibility is 3 years post marriage if you're doing it, 3 years post green card through marriage if you're doing it that way, or 5 years if it's through any other way. That being besides the point, there are also still some other requirements that you need to fulfill in order to naturalize, i.e., for instance, if you have children, this applies to you if you're a woman or a man. If you have children and you're not in custody of your children, how are you providing support for your child? They're not going to exempt you because you're a woman. They're not going to exempt you because you're a man. You need to provide proof, whether or not there's a written child support agreement or not. How are you providing for your wife? I've been in interviews where officers call the husband, not the husband, call the father's baby mothers. Like maybe he had like 3 baby mamas or something like that. He called all of them right there. And even though we had the affidavits just to verify that, because he didn't have, in his case, he didn't have like physical evidence of how he was supporting them, but they had to verify that he's supporting the child. One of the things that you can do is, if you're sending Zelle, make sure you're keeping a history of your Zelle or Cash App or Venmo of how you're providing for them, or if it's in your bank account, especially for people who their children are not in the United States. However you're sending money, keep track of it, and have your spouse, or not spouse, but your baby mama or baby daddy write an affidavit basically verifying that you are supporting them. You also want to make sure that if you're within the ages of 18 to 26, that you register for selective service. You want to make sure that you haven't traveled for more than half of the time that you've had that green card. You want to make sure that, within those 3 years or those 5 years, you're a person of good moral character. You don't have crimes of moral turpitude. And then most importantly, you want to make sure that, you're paying your taxes. So, you want to file taxes. So for example, let's say you have taxes that maybe you owed money on and you didn't pay, and then all of a sudden you apply for naturalization and you want to start paying it. They would say you don't have a good moral character. You need to come back 5 years. The thing that sucks about good moral character is that if they deny you based on good moral character, you have to wait another 5 years to apply again. So you want to make sure that you have all these things before you even put your first application in. Okay. I filed for divorce during my VAWA case. Is naturalization still possible after 3 years? Yes, that's one of the beauties of VAWA. If you get approved on VAWA, whether or not you and your spouse are divorced, you're going to go based on 3 years from the date you receive your 10-year green card. What does it mean if after giving your information, including your alien number, and he doesn't see any information about your case? Babe Rudy, what do you mean? Who's he? Who is getting information in your case? I need a little bit more to answer. You probably answered this already. How soon after one files for an I-751 individual? How soon can one file for I-751 individual filing, either based on mutual divorce or abusive spouse? Immediately. So unlike a 2-year conditional where you're doing it with your spouse and you got to wait 2 years, if you're experiencing abuse, you can file immediately. If you're divorced, you can file immediately. That's the only one that, you can file early or late. Now, of course, if you can avoid filing late, don't file late, because you run the risk of getting your green card terminated and entering into removal proceedings. But if you're not in removal proceedings, unless you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't filed, now I just found out I can file, definitely file. They'll accept that late filing. Can a person get status without being married if they are in the U.S. over 20 years? The person lives in New York. There's so many variables to this. There is a possibility if you are in removal proceedings, deportation proceedings, after 10 years and you have a qualifying relative that's a U.S. citizen or a green card holder and you've not had any criminal records. Otherwise, you can look into other eligibility. If you're not in deportation, you can look into other eligibility requirements, like, maybe a T visa, a U visa, to see if you're eligible for that. If you have children, have your children been abusive to you, and are they U.S. citizens over the age of 21? So there are different variables. So it just really depends. Okay, I'm going to take 2 more questions. Actually, before I take the question, let me just do my announcement so that I don't forget. Because it's my birthday today, we're going to be doing 43%. Well, this sale is for people who have consulted with us and qualify for valid cases. And you should be getting an email from us. But basically, between today till 5 p.m. tomorrow, so 24 hours, you can get the full cost of your legal service for 43% off, which doesn't happen often, but I'm doing a birthday sale, so feel free to use that if you are in that window. But we'll send an email out to you as well if you've consulted with us and you qualify. Do you handle immigration, labor, abuse cases, T visas? Yes, we do. Lady Chanel says, how many family members can I apply for in 1 year? You can apply for as many as you're eligible for and you can financially handle. For everyone that you apply for, you have to prove that you meet the income to apply for them. So if you meet the income to apply for them, by all means, apply for them. And when you say family members, remember, as a U.S. citizen, assuming that you're one, you can only apply for your siblings, parents, child, or spouse. Only those 4 people. Human traffic for days in Texas. Can my friend apply? This was years ago. Absolutely. Call us. Let's screen and see that they qualify. Aline Faria, USA. John Benet says, can you file for a green card using a Social Security and work permit? No, that's not how you file for a green card. Something has to make you eligible for it. How long does it take to get my green card in the mail after approval? 1 to 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks because usually if they approve you, they take about a week to go into production and print the stuff out. And then they usually will send it through priority mail, which is 2 days. So anywhere from like between 1 week to 2 weeks from approval. Lovely Mialaya says, what if your husband has abandoned you? Well, we need to screen you to see if you qualify for VAWA. Like abandonment is such a broad term, and there needs to be more context to really be able to say you qualify for VAWA or not based on that. Let me answer some of these questions. Let's see what else. All right, guys, 2 more questions and then I need to jump off. My child who lives outside the U.S. needs to file an I-485 with his I-130 petition. No, an I-485 can only be filed by people who are living in the United States. If your child lives outside of the United States, the equivalent of that is consular processing. They have to process through their consulate of where they live. So what happens is the I-130 is approved. Once the I-130 is approved, then it moves over to the National Visa Center. If you never gave that information, then you're going to need to do an I-284 for them to transfer that to the National Visa Center. And that is where you put in the application for the consular processing. And then once it's documentarily qualified, then it moves over to the consulate queue for them to schedule them for an interview. And at that point, that's when they get their green card if they're eligible. So again, you cannot file an I-485 while you're outside the country. The reason why it's called I-485 adjustment of status means that you're already in the United States in some status or no status, and you're adjusting your status into a legal permanent resident, okay? Joseph, this is the last question I'm taking today. What comes first with the work permit or the green card? Majority of the times, the work permit will come first. Sometimes, if you're super lucky and they process your card they process your application really fast, you may get a green card. If you get a green card, you're not going to get a work permit because your green card gives you authority to work, to travel, because you've become a legal permanent resident. If that happens, we see it happening a sprinkle of the time, but it's not often. So I'll say maybe 10% of people that we deal with, I can't speak for anybody else, that's what happens to them. The other 90%, you're going to get your work permit before your green card. All right, guys, it was so nice chatting with you. Remember, again, if you consulted with us and you qualified for VAWA, giving 43% off for the next 24 hours. So if you want to retain us, call us today through 5 p.m. tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm about to jump into my USCIS interview. So hopefully my client gets approved. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye.